Welcome back. You're watching Mornings Live with Tinuka and Will. Now, recently we were quite perplexed and amazed by a story in the news. A man on a flight to Sydney threatened to bring down a Qantas plane using just the power of his mind, which got us thinking, surely you can't crash a plane using the power of your mind, but I'm sure you can do a lot of other cool things. So joining us on the phone is Michael Werts, the Victorian and New South Wales trainer of the Australian Academy of Hypnosis. Welcome, Michael. What did you think when you heard this news item?
Good morning, guys. Look, I read the news item and I had to have a bit of a laugh about it, actually.
I think we all did, Michael. I just certainly had a laugh at the part where they handcuffed him. I felt if he were able to bring down a plane with the power of his mind, handcuffs probably weren't going to restrain him.
Well, that's exactly right, but I had to think to myself when I saw that if this guy was on the same flight as me, threatening to bring down the plane, and they handcuffed him, then I'd be quite happy to sit next to him and encourage him in his efforts.
Well, that's a little bit like some of the stuff you do. I mean, you encourage people to use their mind to be able to control things in their life. Tell us a little bit more about what you do in your line of work.
Well, I work for the Australian Academy of Hypnosis, and we teach fundamental hypnosis to people who wish to be hypnotherapists. We don't do stage hypnosis training or anything like that.
Sure.
But yes, we do. We teach people to induce a hypnotic trance to affect change in their clients, but those changes are not anywhere near as drastic as bending spoons or bringing aeroplanes down.
I've always wanted to do both of those.
Yeah,
what a shame.
We'll have to cross those off. Well, and to what extent can we use hypnosis to actually affect change in our lives? How powerful is it?
It's extremely powerful. Now, it's got to be said that the individual, really, the individual or the client, really does need to or want to make the change. But with that, the ability of hypnosis is to engage the subconscious mind, which really controls just about everything that we do, to bring that change about, and allowing that there is the motivation to make the change, then it's very powerful. For instance, quit smoking. That's a very popular one. It really is the bread and butter of hypnotherapy. If the individual wishes to quit smoking, undertakes or engages a hypnotherapist in the pursuit of that endeavour, and has the desire, then he or she has a huge chance of success. In some instances, and depending on the statistics you read, up to 90.6% of people successfully quit smoking for 3 years or longer.
Gee, that's a phenomenal strike rate.
Well, it is, but as I say to everyone who ever asks me that question, at one time in these people's lives, they were absolute non-smokers. They'd never put a cigarette in their mouth.
Yeah.
And then they made the decision to turn themselves into a smoker. As a hypnotherapist, I can turn a person into a non-smoker again, but I can't stop them from making a decision to turn themselves back into a smoker. And that's why I say that the person needs to be motivated to actually want to make the change.
What are some of the other popular ways that hypnotherapy is used?
Oh, pardon me. Weight loss is very popular, but also it's stress, and just being able to deal with and let go of stressful situations or that stressful feeling. But really, anything that you think of, hypnotherapy can assist with. Depression is helped through hypnotherapy. But having said that, when we start to get into the depressive or the mental illnesses, and indeed physical illnesses, then it has to be done in accordance with the approval of a medical or mental health professional. You know, we need to work in conjunction with these people, and I think that we can assist if we do work in conjunction with them.
Well, Michael, then, tell me why then. This is something that I've always been perplexed by. Why is it more powerful, or why does it help at very least, to subconsciously be, if not coax, but make a decision to stop doing something or change your behaviour? Why is that more powerful? Why does it help in comparison to simply just saying, you know what, I'm going to stop smoking?
Look, I think that when we look at the subconscious mind, that part that controls everything about our body, our breathing rate, all of that sort of thing, heart rate, etc. And the conscious mind, that which is aware of what's happening around us and aware of our current situation and takes information from the subconscious mind about how to deal with those sorts of things. If we don't change the pattern that has been developed in the subconscious mind, then we have a conflict there.
Okay.
To quit smoking is really not a very difficult task at all. A lot of people say it's extremely hard, and they've experienced difficulties and they've tried many times. But it's really not that difficult. If you think about someone who goes onto a long-haul flight, say a 15-hour flight, a smoker, generally they don't suffer too badly. Throughout the flight they might think a couple of times, geez, I wish I could step outside and have a cigarette. But they're not going to do that in case somebody tries to bring the plane down with their mental powers. They don't suffer too badly. When they get off, of course, they go and they have their cigarette. Now, that would indicate that smoking and the addiction to nicotine is not the sort of addiction that you experience with some of the harder drugs, heroin, cocaine, etc.
Sure.
Where we've all seen images of people shaking on the floor and having a very hard time of it. So to actually stop smoking cigarettes is not that difficult, providing the mind is in the right mindset. And when you hop on a plane, you know you can't smoke. It's not possible to do so. So your subconscious mind has the right mindset, and you don't suffer. Now, in the normal situation, normal day-to-day life, where we go through normal triggers such as people having a cigarette after their meals or when they get up in the morning or before they go to bed tonight, whatever they happen to be, these subconscious mind patterns are triggered at that point in time, and the person goes through the actions that the pattern requires, which is lighting a cigarette. So if we go in and we change that pattern through direct suggestion and using hypnosis, where the subconscious mind is open to receiving that change, then we simply remove the effect of that pattern. So the person's motivation is there from a conscious level, I want to stop smoking. If we take that pattern away, then indeed they experience the same sort of thing they do on a long-haul flight. They know they don't smoke. It
makes perfect sense, I see, then, that you have in harmony what people want to do consciously, but what their subconscious is telling them to do. That actually makes a hell of a lot of sense, Michael. If I may, we might bring the discussion back to that curious little news item that we touched on at the start. Sure. You're a man who's probably seen and knows more about the capacity of the human mind than most, and I wonder, and I'm sure you hear it so often, people say, and they always do it with a little smirk, people only use 15% of the total capacity of their brain. The potential is endless, and so on and so forth. And often the percentage figure changes depending on the argument. What I want to know is, what percentage of our brains do you think we use? Not me specifically, just general people.
And I won't speak about myself either specifically. Look, I've seen the various statistics on that as well, and you're right, they do change depending on the point that the individual is trying to make. Look, I really don't know exactly what percentage of the brain we use, and I don't think that anybody really knows. I think that they're all guesses, based upon whatever information happens to be present at the time. Do we use the full power of our brain? No, I don't think that we do.
Okay.
Can we enhance the amount of energy that we actually devote to using that portion of the brain that remains idle? I think that we can, and I think that that people who make positive changes in their life, whether it be through hypnosis or some other method, certainly do activate or enhance or use some of that portion of the brain's abilities that we don't normally use or that remain dormant.
Yeah, well, Michael, I think we've heard there in a series of examples of using it, the power of your mind for positive purposes, and none of them seem to include bringing down commercial aircraft, which is a good thing. Michael, thanks for your time this morning.
You're most welcome.
Michael Werts there is a trainer in the Victoria, New South Wales Australian Hypnosis Institute. It's a remarkable science, and there seems to be some people associate hypnosis with a bit of hocus pocus, but I tell you what, when you look at the statistic, and he says 90% of cases where they try to get smokers to stop smoking, 90%
That
of
is
cases
very,
last 3
very
years or
high.
more. It's
Yeah.
not a week or two.
Yeah.
3 years or more, which
So all you
is...
smokers out there, perhaps contact the Australian Academy of Hypnosis. Perhaps they can help you out 90% of the time, right? All the time.
As they say.
It's time for a break. We'll be right back with more news, sports, and later on, Kelly Noble. Actually, we're going to have a little bit of gold, a little bit of entertainment before our break. Let's have a look at that one.